So, so far we have studied the first chapter, and Arjuna was hesitating to fight because of compassion, fear of sinful reactions, and um, uh, thinking that he will lose enjoyment, and also thinking, that the dynasty will be destructed, the women and children may not be guided. Then we came to the second chapter. Second chapter is one of the toughest chapter within Bhagavad Gita because Krishna gives a lot of concepts together. It's like content of Gita summarized. He talked about Sankhya Yoga. He wants Arjuna to understand that he is not the body, he is the spirit soul. And also, he encouraged Arjuna to fight for various reasons. And then at one point in time, Krishna told Arjuna, you do it as a karma yoga without any attachment. Um, and then he explained a lot of things about, the self-realized person in the second chapter. So that is the second chapter. Then coming on to third chapter, Arjuna was still not fully convinced. He always, as he said in the first chapter, he wants you to go back to the forest and then beg. He could not tolerate because it's a very difficult situation. He is in the middle of the battle. All his lovable relatives, grandfather um, and teacher, spiritual master, everybody is there. He cannot kill them, so he better wants to get out of that place. Now we have come across this situation, right, in our life as well. So this is more applicable for each one of us. So now Arjuna is still thinking. Um, so Arjuna just took some point from Krishna, what he said in the second chapter. Krishna said, hey, don't do any abominable activity. Use your buddhi yoga. Krishna meant karma yoga. Karma yoga means do it without attachment. And at the start of this third chapter, Arjuna is asking, Krishna, you said don't do abominable activity, but this fighting is itself an abominable activity. How do I take it? How do I understand your concept? Then Krishna said, okay, I think Arjuna got confused. Let me explain. So then Krishna started explaining, hey Arjuna, there are two types of yogas. Okay, in general, people follow. One is Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Jnanis are those who contemplate more. They differentiate between Chit and Achit, that is, spirits and matter, and try to conclusion that they are not this body, they are the spirit soul. And they go to secluded places. They get away from the busy life. Those are jnanis. And the second category is karma yogis. Karma yogis are those who do the work but with detachment. They are karma yogis. So, and then Krishna started on explaining. Krishna understand Arjuna's mindset. Then Krishna said, hey Arjuna, you think that you go out of this place and go into the forest that you can avoid any sinful reaction? No, you will incur sinful reaction. One cannot achieve liberation or freedom from reaction by giving up action because if it is your duty, if it is duty, then you will incur sinful reaction. That is Krishna said in the fourth shloka. And then Krishna again stressing on the point. Hey Arjuna, inaction is unnatural. Nobody can be inactive. Everybody has to do some work. You think that you can go to the forest and beg for alms because you are a kshatriya? You will fight with other beggars in the forest. You have a tendency to fight. Use it productively to do your prescribed duty. That is what Krishna's point here. Inaction is natural, but even if you try to control your senses and artificially, and in India sometimes, there are some sannyasis who artificially renounces everything, but they do all sort of nasty things because they don't control their sense. They put a saffron cloth, but they always think about sense enjoyment or sense gratification. That's why Krishna calls them out. They are called as mithyachara. That means pretender. Hey Arjuna, don't be like a pretender, right? You go to the forest, but you are kshatriya, you may be thinking about kingdom, and you may be thinking about fighting. No, don't do that. Then, And Krishna also says, it is better you do your duty. It's better you do your duty and now uh, control your senses, right? Ethically regulate your senses and do your karma yoga without any attachment. This is far better than um, just renouncing activity and um, going, not doing any work. Okay. Um, so that is Krishna's advice. Okay. It's better to control, regulate your senses, and engage in your karma yoga rather than sacrificing or rather than taking sannyasa or going to the forest. And then in the ninth shloka, Krishna stresses that, so in the ninth shloka, Krishna talked about so many things about karma. Now he's talking about a little bit more. So far, Krishna talked about work with the detachment. Now Krishna takes it to the next level. Do your activity or action as a sacrifice to Vishnu, right? Do it as an offering to Vishnu or Krishna without any attachment. Then you'll be free, you'll get freedom from bondage. Because if you think that we are doing the I am the cause of this, when you say that I am the cause, then we'll get bondage in the sense we will have to encounter the reaction as well. Um, I did this and I got it. That means I have to undergo that reaction, positive or negative, based on that. But if you do it for the Krishna's sake, right, then you won't encounter or you won't get the reaction. Offer it to me, then you'll be escaping from the reaction. So far, we have seen that one. The first slide. Any questions, any thought process in this so far before we go to the further shlokas? Anyone wants to add anything? Okay, if not, let me go. And then, so this is very important. Actions as a sacrifice to Vishnu without detachment, without attachment, freedom from bondage. Um, Now, in general, the acharyas explain, do everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. So why do we need to do it for the satisfaction of the Lord? It is said, we cannot independently get satisfied. We cannot get independently enjoy anything in this world. When Krishna or Vishnu is satisfied, then only we will get satisfied. It is like, um, you know, uh, we are all like part and parcel of Krishna, right? We cannot be independently happy unless we satisfy Krishna. It's like watering the roots. When you water the roots, all the parts of the tree get nourished. Likewise, we don't feed our fingers or our feet or anything. We feed our stomach, then all the body parts gets satisfied. Likewise, when you do devotional service, when you do it for the sake of Krishna or Vishnu, right? Then when Krishna is satisfied, we will get satisfied normally. In that regard, I just want to quickly say a story. um, when the Pandavas were in exile, right? They were in exile for 12 years and then 1 year Ajnana was incognito mode. And during the time, Duryodhana used to send some troubles to them every now and then. Duryodhana redirected Durvasamuni to the hut of Pandavas. And Durvasamuni came with 10,000 of his disciples and followers. And at the time, Pandavas have completed their um, lunch or so. Pandavas got an Akshaya Patram. Akshaya means that which does not, um, uh, uh, what to say? You won't run out of any food or anything. That is Akshaya. It was given by Surya Bhagavan to Pandavas. So, but there is one condition there. When Draupadi cleanses or washes that Akshaya Patra, it won't give you the food after that. So it so happened after they completed their lunch and she has cleansed the Akshaya Patra, a Durvasa Muni came. And Durvasa Muni is known for his anger. And Pandavas were, they do not know how they are going to handle the situation. This showed that Durvasa Muni is going to give them a curse. They don't know. But Draupadi, remember Krishna's words. Krishna said to Draupadi, at any point in time, if you are in difficulty, just remember, I will come and help you. Then Draupadi requested Krishna's help. Krishna immediately appeared in the next moment. And then Draupadi explained the scenario. And she also explained, I don't have any food. I've cleaned the Akshaya Patra. And Krishna said, just give me the Akshaya Patra. And then there was a little bit of morsel of one grain of rice was sticking inside the Akshaya Patra. And Krishna just took it and then put it in his mouth. And then he said, I'm satisfied. Draupadi was thinking, you are satisfied, Krishna, but what about those 10,000 plus rishis, and including Durvasa Muni? Krishna said, you don't worry, they won't come. So the Durvasa Munis and his followers, they were taking bath, before honoring the prasadam. So they want to take a bath and then go back to the hut of Pandavas. But while they taking bath, they feel very satisfied. They feel as if they had a very big feast. It's because Krishna took one morsel, one grain of rice, and if you are satisfied, and when you are satisfied, all those rishis, all those followers of Durvasa Muni, including Durvasa Muni, they felt very satisfied. That is one story. The Acharyas also explained. And when we please Krishna, when we make Krishna satisfied, we will get satisfied. And between the shloka number 10 and 11, Krishna talked about how he created the population, right? So there are two type of creators. One is primary creator is Krishna or Vishnu, right? And the secondary creator is Brahma. So Krishna creates, or Mahavishnu creates the entire universes, right? And in each and every universe, they need population, they need devatas and etc. So those are created by Brahma. So Brahma is the secondary creator. So when Krishna created or Vishnu created the population and devas, and he also gave them something called as yajna. So now I've created you. I've also given you the sacrifice. Use this sacrifice to get what you want. Right? So what Krishna is here is telling is, the Acharyas explain, it's a cosmic cooperation. What we think universe, it is not a universe. It is a universal government. Krishna says that we have, for every universe, there are devatas. They take care of universal affairs. For example, for water, Varuna takes care. For fire, Agni Deva takes care. For energy, Surya Bhagavan takes care. For rain, Indra takes care everything. So there is a universal government. So Krishna says, you please them. All these devatas are working for you like a government. So what we do for the government, we pay tax, right? And then we adhere to the laws. We obey the laws and rules and regulations. Likewise, Krishna says, here is a universal government. You please them and they will get pleased and they will also please you. So that is a mutual understanding. So here the sacrifice Krishna talks about, the sacrifice is an umbrella term, and it could be fire sacrifice. We can do literal fire sacrifice to please Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all the demigods. And by following our prescribed duties for a noble cause, that is also considered as a sacrifice. So when we follow, these rules of Shastra and everything, that is also considered like a sacrifice. Those devatas also get pleased and they give us, natural resources and fulfill our necessities, because, it is not like we buy everything from the stores, right? Even the store food, everything has been processed and they get it from the nature. We need rain for all the grains and etc. It doesn't come automatically. You know, the sun rises every day in the east. It is very meticulous, and we get a night lamp that is our Chandra Bhagavan right in the night, and Krishna has made all these arrangements very nicely, and water gets vapor, and then it fetches the water from ocean and it comes to the land and it pours down into the field and the crops are grown. Everything is systematic. So in that regard, I'm just remember Einstein said one thing. So in the nature, you can always consider two things. One is everything is miracle or everything is not miracle. As per Einstein, the world is not chaotic. Everything is being done so systematically, right? Einstein is saying this is, something is there behind so that everything is happening so nicely. And it is just that we are identifying the laws behind it. We say law of thermodynamics, we say law of physics, we say law of gravity. We are just identifying, but there is a systematic, things are in place. Why? These are all because of the universal affairs that are being taken care by the devatas. I was recently studying an article about Fibonacci series. Now you might have seen Fibonacci series means it starts with 1 plus 1, 2, 3, 5. You add the previous number. So the Fibonacci series, you see it in the sunflower. The arrangement is a Fibonacci series, and you see it in pineapple, and you see it in a lot of shells, corn shells. And recently, they also found even the Milky Way galaxy. When you measure it, right, it falls under the Fibonacci series. So everything is so systematic that we are uncovering, right? It leads us to believe that there is a universal government that is acting upon us. It is just that we need to reciprocate. It's like paying like a tax, right? That is a beauty. I like here. So one in the 12th shloka, Krishna explains one who enjoys gifts from devatas without offering it to them by performing sacrifices is a thief. Krishna is very clear. It is not like getting. Give me, right? There should be some reciprocation, right? Reciprocation is always there everywhere, the kids reciprocate to the parents and parents reciprocate to their parents. And reciprocation is always there. And Krishna is saying one who just gets everything but not reciprocating is like a thief. Somebody was telling me this story. In general, the human tendency is to always get, not to reciprocate. And one person was drowning in a river, and two persons were trying to rescue him. And one of the person was trying to rescue that person. He said, "Give me your hand, give me your hand." But the person who was drowning, he was hesitating to give the hand. And the second person said, "Hey, this person is not a giver. I think he has a habit of only getting. You just ask him to grab your hand." And the other person said, "Okay, now grab my hand." Suddenly, the person was the person was drowning. He grabbed his hand. It's just a funny story how the mentality works. Some people always want to grab, get, but Krishna here says you also give, you also reciprocate. In that regard, in the 13th and 13th shloka, Krishna talked about offering food, right? Yagnashishta kshinashantaha, right? You offer the food to the God and you eat it. When you do that, it cleanses your mind. Not only that, it also purifies you, and also you are protected from the sinful reaction. Krishna here says, Sarva Kilbishahi, all your sinful reactions will be gone if you take the food, offered to Krishna, offered to Devatas. But here, one thing to note here is that Krishna here briefly talked about Devatas. Krishna says, You bend your head to some place. Now, devatas are giving you a lot of things. You reciprocate to them by offering sacrifice or by offering food or by doing a prescribed duty, by working for a noble class, no, sorry, excuse me, for working for a noble cause, etc. But in the seventh chapter, when the Bhakti Yoga starts, Krishna will say, so worshipping devatas, good, but only less intelligent people do that. High intelligent people worships me. So Krishna always, he does not immediately say, just worship me. He just gives all the facts and figures, points out, and then he takes us to the next level. And now I think we need to start from the new shlokas. I think it is 14 and 15. Any doubt? Anybody wants to add any comments? Realization? Okay. At the end of this class, I will ask everyone, what is your takeaway from these sessions? Now, please feel free to add. Um, Anybody wants to repeat after me? This is a very nice sloka. This talks about cycle of sacrifice. We will see.
I can do that. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Sambhiji. Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Annat bhavanti bhutani.
Parjanyad anna sambhavah.
Parjanyat anna sambhavah.
Yajnad bhavati parjanyo.
Yajnat bhavati parjanyo.
Yajna karma samudbhavah.
Yajna karma samudbhavah.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Nityam yajne pratishthitam.
Nityam yajne pratishtitam.
Thank you, Sanjay. Can you read the translation as well?
Yeah. All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, which is sacrifice, and yajna itself is born of prescribed duties. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, which is the prescribed duties, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Parabrahma. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Thank you, Sanjay.
So one is dependent on other, right?
Yes, yes.
There is a sequence.
Yeah, you're reciting these shlokas very nicely. So these are very nice shlokas. I know many people who also recite this shloka before honoring prasadam or taking food. This shows a cycle of sacrifice. What happens? And if I show you a picture, so the shloka starts from here. Annad. This is Bhutani. Bhutani means we are human, and all living entities. Annad bhavanti bhutani. This is Annad. Annad means grains. From grains, we take grains, right? And our body develops from the grains. Annad bhavanti bhutani. And then how does this Annad comes into picture? Pajanyad anna sambhava. That is, from the rain comes all the food grains and everything, right? But how does that rain comes into picture, right? And then the sacrifices, you know, so there could be fire sacrifice, for Indras, or if you just do your prescribed duty, all those things, whatever sacrifices that you do, right? That pleases the devatas, that pleases the um, the head of the devatas, Indra, and then he gives us the rain. So that comes from all the sacrifices. But where does this sacrifice come from? Right? These sacrifices, as per Krishna, as per scriptures, they all come from Vedas. Vedas describe what are the different types of sacrifices, right? Rituals, different type of fire sacrifices, as well as talks about different types of prescribed duties. What are your ethical duties and etc. You know, ethical, moral values, and everything. How to lead a life and everything. About when you do that, that is considered like a sacrifice. So this comes from the sacrifice. But where does the Vedas come from? Vedas come from Krishna or Vishnu, right? Does anyone know how the Vedas come? I know whether Krishna speaks or Mahavishnu speaks. How does the Veda comes from?
It is, I believe, it is from the experience of the rishis who meditated and jnana yoga, who performed the jnana yoga, and they gathered it from Krishna himself
Yes.
through their meditation
Yeah,
and the
that's
It's
true.
Brahma's
realization.
voice, right? Probably.
I'm sorry.
Uh, the Vedas are Brahma's voice, right? Actually, that came out of Brahma's, right?
Vedas came out of Brahmas, and Brahma received it from Mahavishnu.
Hmm.
And uh, what you all said is right. The rishis, they get it from to the meditation, and they received it from Brahma, and Brahma received it from Mahavishnu. And how it is said, how Vishnu releases the Veda when he breathes out, the all the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and other Vedas comes out. And Brahma, at some point in time when he was born, he gets that by doing tapasya, and then he was given all those Vedic knowledge, because the Vedas contain everything for Brahma. uh, it talks about how human beings should look like, how the animal should look like, what are the features, and everything looks like, everything is given in Vedas. And Brahma used Vedas as a reference for his creation. And that's why when Madhu Kaidapare, when they stole the Vedas, how did they stole the Vedas, right? Nowadays, you see hacking happens, right? They go to, computer hardware and they hack it, right? Likewise, the Madhu Kaidapare, they did not steal the Vedas directly as a hard copy. They got it from the mind of Brahma. So that is another interesting thing. So from Mahavishnu or Krishna, when they breathe out and the Vedas came, and it was also instructed to Brahma, and from Brahma all the rishis, right? They got it, and then it was made available. But indirectly, if you see, we are all dependent on Krishna. So the etiquette is whatever we receive, we offer it to Krishna or Mahavishnu or Vishnu or Narayana. Does this cycle make sense? Everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it's like, a self-sustaining cycle, right?
Yes.
So it is a self-sustaining cycle. So Krishna gave it through the Vedas. The Vedas prescribe how we have to live. It's like a manual, operating manual
Yes.
for performing yajnas. And yajnas, by doing the yajnas, it satisfies all the Panjabhutas or the
Yes.
Devatas responsible for the Panjabhutas. And which in turn, when they are satisfied, they help in producing the grain for sustaining the life on this earth. And by sustaining the life, we um, uh, I mean, we do our duties, which is basically concentrating on Vishnu to express our gratitude. So
Yes.
basically, it's like a cycle thing. And Vishnu, in turn, is satisfied and helps us to sustain the life in this earth.
Thank you, Sandarji. Yeah. So this is a cycle of sacrifice. So the here, we get everything indirectly from Krishna or Vishnu. So it makes sense to offer it to Krishna, whatever we do, whatever we get, right? We offer it to Krishna, and we do it with detachment. So that is the reason this is called as a cycle. That is the reason in the previous everything Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in the act of sacrifice. So Krishna is situated eternally in the sacrifice. In fact, yajna, the another meaning of yajna is Vishnu. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. This is another version. Hope that makes sense. And another thing, right? As I mentioned, sorry, do zoom in the slides. Probably I
You
should
can
put.
probably put it in a presentation mode.
No, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. If you see at the right bottom, it shows 74%. If you make it 80 or 90%, that should be helpful.
No, presentation mode. Yeah, you can do that.
Presentation mode is also okay, but in presentation mode, we cannot see all the slides. So it will, I don't know how convenient it is for you, but if you make it 80, 90, that should be okay.
Is this okay?
This looks okay to me. Thank you.
Is this okay, Mataji? Okay. Okay. So this is one. So as I mentioned, the sacrifice is umbrella term, right? So for Arjuna, the Kurukshetra battlefield is like a Yajna Kunda, and his anger of Arjuna is like a fire, and the lives of all the soldiers is like oblations or ahuti, and the arrows of Arjuna is a spoon, and Lord Krishna is a beneficiary of this yajna. This is just an analogy, and Prabhupada explains. See, in this scenario, right, in this Kali Yuga, we cannot. Veda say, do your prescribed duty, and do this yajna and everything. But many of us, right, we are not doing our prescribed duty, right? Each and every varnas and orders, they have their own prescribed duty. But in Kali Yuga, most of us are not doing our prescribed duty. But of course, we can still do our duty with a sense of detachment and offer it to Krishna. But in Kali Yuga, the bestest type of sacrifice is Sankirtana Yajna. And it is not only told by Prabhupada, and also explained by all the acharyas. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yajnanam, in the 10th chapter, when he talks about the vibhuti, assets, opulence, Yajnanam Japo Yajnosmi. Of all the yajnas, I am Japa Yajna. If you chant my name, that is the best sacrifice. Right? When we chant the holy name, right? All the rest of the things, what we talked about, the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and everything, Bhakti Yoga, it will automatically fall in place. We'll also develop good qualities and everything. So that is one of the most important thing. And it was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna also says, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Always, do Kirtan, chant my holy name. So for this Kali Yuga, one of the best type of sacrifice is Sankirtana Yajna, or chanting of the holy name. All right, Sankirtana Yajna. And now Krishna says, if one does not follow that cycle of sacrifice, what will happen? So anyone wants to read this shloka after me? Anyone? Kaushalji, do you want to try?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'll try.
Okay. Evam pravartitam chakram
Evam pravatti chakram
nanu var वर्तयति हयः
नानुवर्तयतीतः
अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो
आगायुरिन्द्रियारामो
मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
मोहं पार्थः सजीवति.
जीवति
My
okay.
dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin, living only for the satisfaction of the sense. Such a person lives in vain.
Thank you, Professor. So now Krishna says, those who do not follow that cycle, one who breaks that cycle, just doing it for their own sense gratification, sense enjoyment, not even considering or reciprocating, to the devatas or Krishna, just they are doing everything for their own satisfaction, right? Uh, he lives in vain. He is not utilizing this body. He is not utilizing this life, um, you know, for a higher purpose. Okay, he leads a life full of sin. He will get into this life and birth and life cycle again and again, and then get entangled again and again. He's, he lives in vain. So Krishna clearly explains sinful life without sacrifice. And that's what we see in a lot of people. They are so much into sense gratification. They want to, but they miss the purpose of the life, which is to understand who we are, what is our relationship to Krishna or Vishnu, and and doing devotion service, and see how we can get out of this material world and go back home, go back to Godhead. Vaikuntha, that is a place of no worry. Why? Kunta means a place of no worry. So work as an offering to Krishna, God. Okay. We have two more shlokas we will cover quickly, and then we will talk about story of um, okay. Anybody wants to recite this? Nirmal, if you are available, if you are ready, will you be able to read it?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can try.
You know that, Nirmal. Yes, Twat. Okay, you try it. I think I know you know how to read, recite, I believe.
No, Prabhuji, I'll follow you.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Yes, Twat Marati Reve Syat.
Yasvat marati eva syat
Syat.
eva
Atmatriptascha Manavaha.
atmatriptascha manavaha
Atmanyeva cha santushtas.
atman eva cha santushtaha
Tasya karyam na vidyate.
tasya karyam na vidyate
Naiva tasya krite narto.
naiva tasya krite narto
Na krite neha kaschana.
na krite
Na krite neha.
na krite neha kaschayana
Na chasya sarva bhuteshu.
न चाय सर्वभूतेषु
Kaschid art. Kaschidartavyapashrayah.
कश्चित्तत्यपार्षयः
Pashrayah. Okay. Can
but
you read it? Yeah.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satisfied, satiated. For him, there is no duty. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work. nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Hare Krishna. So now Krishna switches the gear. So far, initially he talked about how doing the duty is very important. Everybody has to do it. Nobody can sit quietly. Everybody has to do something. And then he talked about doing it as an offering to the Lord. And particularly, he educated us about the cycle of sacrifice. Why we need to reciprocate to the devatas, and particularly to Krishna, how we to offer. He was talking about fully doing our prescribed duty. But now here says, but one who is self-realized, right? Uh, one who is always Atma Triptascha. Atma Triptascha means one who is self-realized, one who is self-satisfied, okay, one who is matured. Krishna said, Arjuna, you are not matured, so you cannot escape from your duty. But here Krishna says, one who is matured enough, right? For him, there is no duty. He doesn't have any duty to do because he's self-satisfied. He does not have to do any duty. He does not have to do any sacrifice. One who is self-realized person, and again, he does not have any purpose to fulfill because he's already connected to the Lord. He knows that he is a spirit soul, and he understands this super soul, and he got a connection with them, with the super soul, and he does the devotional service, he chants and everything. He does not have to do anything else. He does not need to do his prescribed duties, nor he has any reason not to perform. He does not need to do, but he does not have any reason not to perform as well. And he also does not need to depend on any other living being. Suddenly, we know why Krishna is twisting it. So far, Krishna says we have to do our duty. But now he is twisting it. He said, but a self-realized need not work. But in the next shloka, you will say, a self-realized does not need to work, but he will work. He has to still work to set the right example. That's what he will say in the next shloka and in the next two shlokas. Um, even if a self-realized a sannyasi, a self-realized person, he doesn't need to do anything, but he will still work with the detachment to set a right example. He will also show an example of Janaka Maharaj, where Janaka Maharaj um, is also called as a Raja Rishi. He's fully self-realized person, but he still works, to set an example. So that is what we'll see it in the next shloka. But I want to take some time. Any questions so far? We will again have a recap on this. Any
Prabhuji,
realization, any thought process?
Prabhuji, you said sacrifice, right? So sacrifice is offering food and this reading this Bhagavad Gita books like that, or
Yes.
it?
The sacrifice, that's a very good question. That confused me a lot. I did a lot of research on that. I did consulted people on that. I consulted Acharya's commentaries. The sacrifice here is like an umbrella term. You
Yeah.
can take it like a literal fire sacrifice to please devatas, or you
Mm.
can also, uh, uh, reading shastras is a sacrifice. You know, because all the rishis have written this. How do we repay to them? By reading the shastras that they've written. That's the sacrifice. By coming to the satsang like this, it's a sacrifice. Reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam, chanting is a great sacrifice.
Okay.
These are all sacrifice, and doing our prescribed duty, taking care of our duty with the detachment, it's also considered like a sacrifice.
Okay. It's not just offering food; it's everything included.
It's
Okay.
everything. But when it associated with devotional service, no, it is more value, like offering the food to Krishna. That is also a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in other words, anything you do that is not in the interest of self gratification is a form of a sacrifice. That means even helping, thinking about helping a friend or helping a family,
Mm.
to sustain their lives, right? So even that is a sacrifice. That means, you are doing something by not focusing on ourselves.
Yeah.
That's where the self gratification, right? So that, anything other than self gratification is a form of sacrifice. So, but again, these are all, different levels of sacrifice. So ultimate thing is, how do we do enough sacrifice? When I say enough, I'm just for the sake of comparison, I'm saying, anything that we do, it has to elevate our thinking and move us closer towards realization of Krishna Bhakti.
Yes, it should
So
help
that is
us.
a thing. Yes, yeah. Certain things will be like a fast track, but lack of better word. Something will be little slower. So the essence of life is to help each other, like as they say, right, in English, like pay forward. So you help somebody, somebody will help you, right? So that is a very mundane way of saying things, but again, that is what it conveys is that, we have to sacrifice basically. So
Yeah.
anything that will please Krishna is a sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we in the day-to-day life we are helping each other, like it's most of the time, at least what I'm doing is like not expecting anything, but then that itself is not considered, it's considered sacrifice, but still I'm not all the time looking for like thinking of Krishna or in the bhakti mode. I'm not doing it right. Since the word, it comes as a thief, like it was a little bit hard for me.
Right.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like Prabhuji was saying, right? So it is not just doing the right thing. So when we are increasing our proportion of right things, that pleases the things that please Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we have to start reducing things that we do, even scolding, shouting, getting angry, all that. So we have to simultaneously reduce it. And not many people, many of us rather,
Yeah,
including me,
yeah.
right? We don't realize. We think, oh, doing good. Oh, we did 10. It doesn't cancel out. You know what I mean? Like 10 good things does not cancel out four bad things. The four bad, that's where the karma comes into picture.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to increase the 10
Yeah,
and we have to reduce the 4 to 0.
got it. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Saundarji. Ultimately, as Saundarji has mentioned, this is a Karma Yoga, Nirmalji. So Krishna talks about Karma Yoga, but Krishna tells all these things is prepping us to Bhakti Yoga, is prepping us to the Bhakti Yoga. So when you go to the Bhakti Yoga, it'll become more and more clear to us, what has to be done, what needs to be done, and everything. Ultimately, as Saundarji pointed out, it should help us to elevate our consciousness into Krishna consciousness, because we may be doing a lot of good things, helping others, everything, that's a sort of sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, that is also a sort of karma yoga,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately that won't help us to um, help us to go back home, to go back to God. That will help us to get a nice birth next time. But our consciousness should dovetail to Krishna, as he meant, as Sandaji mentioned, elevate us to elevate our Krishna consciousness, so that you know we can go back home, go back to Godhead. But Krishna is telling all these things, is prepping us to Bhakti Yoga.
Okay.
But when
Yeah,
you do
it is
Bhakti
like a
Yoga,
tilling the soil, basically. Before you
Mm-hmm.
plant any grain, right? Anything, any paddy, and we realize the fruits of the grain. I mean, the grains have to grow, right? The paddy has to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and all the good deeds that we do, and the Shastras mention, do this, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, they say, right, in Veda. So
Mm-hmm.
all these are to prepare the ground for us. So basically, our mind has to be properly nourished so that good thoughts will come and our mind will automatically, slowly and steadily, it will start focusing towards the Krishna. That's where, the what you call the detached attachment, as they say, right? That is the one, that is the path to attaining the Krishna consciousness.
Got it, Prabhuji. Yeah.
A good discussion.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any questions? I will take a 10 minutes. Quickly, we will just recap Nammar's story. Does anyone have any questions? Any other points that anyone wants to add? Very good discussion today as well.
Prabhuji, this is Sandeep. One, I think everybody is talking the same thing.
Yes.
Basically, I think this question came how we do the good things in our daily life. And there is no one formula, I believe, right? This is the main difference between Eastern culture and Western culture. If we go back, I think most of us being Indian, our parents when they used to cook food, the first roti or thing was kept for cow, right? Gau Mata, right?
Yeah.
That was a part of our sacrifice, right? That we have seen
Yes.
growing up. And then similarly, our parents or mothers, they will take shower and do puja, worship the God first thing in the morning, right? And that's the value we got, and that is the value I'm giving to my daughter. Every day she goes to school, I tell her 30 seconds, 1 minute, just pray to the God. Yeah, without doing that, you cannot step out of the house, right? And on weekends we have more time, so we do it for longer time, right? Similarly, I tell her that, okay, when you go to school, competition is not between you and others. Competition is between yesterday's version of yourself and today's version of yourself. You are not competing with others. No, you have to compete with yourself. Similarly, when I go to work, I know in work also there are things, good things, bad things. Sometimes those are intentional, done by somebody, some are unintentional. I do not, being a human, sometimes I delve into those things, but then sometimes I realize that I should not have done that. And if I feel at the end of the day that I did something wrong, I try to apologize to that person without crossing the boundaries. That I didn't mean to say this thing, or I didn't mean to do this thing. It happened in the moment. I didn't mean to do that. Right. And sometimes we come across bad situations. I think the only thing is that as somebody said, our karmas should not be all the time self-centric. It should be to think about others also. And again, there is a limit what we can do on a day-to-day basis. But as you said, karma yoga leads to bhakti yoga. That is where Lord Krishna is telling us, showing us the direction to go in that side. But again, this is a big subject. I'm pretty sure all of us on this call, they do some type of sacrifice one way or other.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. I think that's true. I think we do a lot of sacrifice every day, day to day. And attending this class, Krishna says that this is one of the best sacrifices as well. When we come together and spend time and talk about Krishna, right? Krishna is very happy. He says, Naham Tishtami Vaikunte, Naham Yoginam Hridayasya Che, Aham Tishtami Narada, Yatra Madbhakta Bhajante Mam. Wherever people talk about me, I come and stay there. So, absolutely. So, these are the things that they will prepare us. Slowly, Krishna, it is like a ladder. We can go one by one. Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And when we get matured, sometimes we'll go directly to Bhakti Yoga. We don't need to follow all this Karma Yoga. When you do Bhakti Yoga, all these things will fall in place directly. So we'll see that. Very good discussion. Okay. I know it is already going to be 9. Can we take 10 minutes? I thought of covering Namar's story. That's a very beautiful story. Does everyone have 10 minutes, or is it too late, or we can see next week?
I think we can stay, right, for 10 minutes. Everybody okay?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Last time also, we were not able to complete. So, Prabhuji complete today. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Our gladly Chedvari. So Namarwar is the head of the Arvars. in the Sri Sampradaya, as well as in South India, is the head of the Harvard. And he was born in a village near Tirunelveli district. It's called as Harvard Tirunagari. And his parents, pray to the Tirukurungudi Nambi, it's nearby temple, where they want somebody like the Krishna, right? And then with the blessings of the Tirukurungudi Nambi, that is Lord Narayana blessings, Nammarwar was born. And when he was born, so the thing is, when every one of us born, there is something called as shutter. Shutter means it's a type of vayu or air that covers our real self, right? And then we do not know what happened in the past, and we don't know what is our real position. So when the acharyas and they say that you are spirit soul, you're not body, no, that we forget, when we are born. When they tell us, at least when we are fortunate, we try to realize that. But for Nammarwar, he is sent by the Lord. He's sent by Lord Narayana or Krishna to spread the um, to spread the what to say, Krishna consciousness, or to spread the bhakti. Right? Arvar means those who are immersed in bhakti are called as arvas. Those who are immersed and those who make others to get immersed in bhakti are called as arvas. So when he was born, right, he was angry at that air that was trying to cover him. So he was Koba. That's why he's called as Shata Gopa. Shata means that air which was trying to cover all his past thing, and he was angry at it. That's why he's called as Shata Gopa. Right? Now, normally when you go to the Vishnu temple, you get a Shadari, right? That is nothing but, that's a symbol or is a feat of Namarwar, Shadari. So he was born. He is considered like a amsam of Vishwaksena as well. Vishwaksena is the Senapati in Lord Narayana's army, in the Narayana Sena. So after he was born, for 16 years, he did not speak anything. He did not eat anything. He did not feel like speaking or eating anything. He knows this world because when he was born, he knows this is how difficult, how corrupted this world. He does not want to speak or eat anything. And what happened was, after 16 years, he was getting matured in the sense is jnana and everything getting matured, and he wants to deliver the pasurams or the verses, and he wants to give the what is something called as Dravida Veda. Dravida Veda is nothing but the all the four Vedas, right? He has them in the Tamil language that is called as Dravida Veda. He's ready to deliver that, right, for the benefit of the people. So at the time, there was another Arwar called as Madhurakavi Arwar. He was in a trip to North India, Vrindavan, Mathura, and everywhere. And when he was taking, Sandhya Vandan in the evening, and then he saw a ray, a bright rays, on the south. He does not know where it was appearing. So out of curiosity, he started following that. He went to Karnataka, he went to Andhra, he went to Tirupati, then he went to south, and then he found it was near Arwar Tirunagari. And then when he saw, it was under a tamarind tree. So far for 16 years, this Namarwar sat under the tamarind tree. And on seeing him, this Namarwar, this Madhurakavi Arwar, was surprised. This full effulgence is coming from this small boy. And then what he will do is he will take a stone. He was not sure whether he is alive or dead. He will take a small stone and put it on him. And then Namarwar will open his eyes. And then he will ask a very nice question, very philosophical question. Um, you know, I think that is beyond the scope of this class. He will ask a very philosophical question in a very simple way, and Namarwar will also respond it in very simple way. Then Madhurakavi Arwar will be surprised. Yes, that much knowledge. Then he will surrender to the Namarwar under his feet. And then Namarwar started, he was very happy that he got a disciple. At the time, Namarwar was only 16 years old, and Madhurakavi Arwar was around 28 or 30 years old. But still, Madhurakavi Arwar surrendered to Namarwar. Another beautiful thing is, right, in in there are 12 Arvars. Not all the Arvars are Brahmanas, right? There are around four Brahmanas, but rest of them are from the non-Brahmanas. But this Namarwar is not a Brahmana. But if you ask anybody, starting from Ramanujacharya, starting from what to say, Nadamuni, Uyakondar Manakal Nambi, and and other acharyas, Govinda Bhattar, Nanjiar, everyone. If you ask them who they want to glorify, who is their Swami, who is their master, they will always say Namarwar. That is the bhakti that Namarwar has. So in all his shlokas, verses, you will have the Krishna bhakti. That is why he is also called as personification of Krishna bhakti. If somebody wants to write or draw Krishna, they will draw Krishna. But if somebody wants to draw Krishna bhakti, our acharyas explain, in the Sri Sampradaya, they say, if you want to draw Krishna bhakti, you draw Namarwar. Okay, I got a picture. Okay, this is the picture of Namarwar. If you want to draw a picture of Krishna bhakti, you draw Namarwar. Krishna Trishna Tattvam, they say it. So Namarwar was giving all the four Vedas in Tamil. They are called as different Tiruvaimuri, Tiruvrittam, there are another Tiruvandadi, there are one more. So he has translated, or he has given them in a simple form, and Madhura Kavi Varvar was writing all of them very diligently. And I want to highlight few past tense in that. When it comes to the Damodar Leela, right? Namarwar was writing about the Damodar Leela, and he was thinking how that Supreme Lord, he was bound by a gopi, that is Yashoda, how he allowed Yashoda to tie him. And thinking about it, he could not understand it, how kind and merciful Lord Krishna was. And he fainted, and he fainted. And it took around many months for him to come out of the faint. And Madhur Kaviarwar, on realizing what happened, so as soon as Namarwar got up, he said, where did I leave? And then Madhur Kaviarwar again said, you left in the Damodar Leela. Then again Namarwar got fainted because he could not understand, how merciful the Lord is. Then after that, when he got up, Mother Kaviarwar this time was intelligently said, no, you are in some Krishna Leela. Then Namarwar started writing, about the Krishna Charitra, Krishna Leelas. And the other thing I want to say is that in all his pasarams, you will always see that he wants to go back home, go back to Godhead. He will always plead, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. He has written a lot of things about Krishna. He said, I want to come with you. Please take me. But Lord Narayana will not take him. Right? Whenever he feels very sad and depressed, he will say, Kodu Ulakam Katil. That means, don't show me this world. It is so entangled, it has become so much degraded. But at the time, Lord, from one of the Divi Desams, will appear before him, and then he will be happy. Then he will write about that, that Divya Desams. Then he will start writing. That's how it happened. And another thing I want to tell is that so all these Arvars, right? There is only one female Arvar that is called as Sri Andal or Sri Gota. The rest of the Arvars, right? Many of the Arvars, they took a form of Nayaka Bhav. Nayaka Bhav means consider them as a lover of Krishna, and they will sing song, right? This Arvar also, composed a lot of pasarams, consider him as a Parangusanayagi. That means consider himself as a lover of Krishna, and he will write, a lot of songs about it. Now, it's not like a mundane material love. It is about the pure spiritual love. They call it like, I know one time when Ramanujacharya was asked out of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, right, what he likes more, Ramanujacharya is, everybody thought that Ramanujacharya will say Moksha. Ramanujacharya said, I like Kama, right? Everybody was surprised. The sannyasi is saying Kama, then he clarified, I said Krishna Kama. That means we all should have a pure devotional love, spiritual love towards Krishna. So that is what Namarwar has depicted. He was show express full love to Krishna, and he will send a lot of um, messengers to Krishna. Um, and that's um, other thing. Other thing about him is at some and I'm always familiar this. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Sandhya, you want to explain that?
Yeah. If you are done with your other things, so basically the question, I'll try to explain it in a simple terms for our understanding. So the question was, it is a very profound philosophy. The entire philosophy of what we have been talking about, Bhagavad Gita, right? The essence of Bhagavad Gita. If within a little thing is born a living thing, what will it eat and where will it exist? So what it means is the question is the little thing is nothing but our body. Okay, living thing, Atma or the soul, it doesn't have it's immortal basically, right? It moves from one physical body to another body. And here he is referring that little thing is consider body is the little thing because it after some time it perishes, right? So when the time comes, it perishes based on the karma. So if a soul is born using a body in this world, so what would it eat? What would it consume? And where will it live? That Atma. So Nammarwar, he opened his eyes, he heard the question, and immediate answer with one line was, it will eat what is available and it will exist where it is. So the meaning of it is that the soul assumes a body because of our karma, and it lives in this earthly world. And as we all know, the body is meant for pleasures, right? But it's the atma or our mind, influenced by the atma that directs the thing, the body. So if we don't do anything extra, so the what the soul can do is, soul, if it doesn't have influence over the thing or our mind rather, the body will just like the sensory pleasures, it will live and it will consume all sumptuous food and all all these things, and it will just live a mundane life like many of us are doing, right? I don't want to denigrate Western culture, but it's a material world basically, right? Material world. So so that's what he said. If there is nothing that body by being the soul existing in a body, by without any extra effort, nothing will happen. We have to have extra effort in order to come out of the cycle. So if we don't do that extra effort is in the form of a Krishna bhakti, then we will just go through the cycle of life and birth, life and birth, life and birth eternally. It will be cycle. So we have to come out of that orbit. So how it will happen? So we have to start focusing on the Krishna bhakti. So that's what it is a profound philosophy.
Thank you very much, Soundarji. That's a very good explanation. Thank you very much. And this Namarwar, before he left, right? See, he has written is one of his famous thing is Tiruvaimuri. That is that is around 1112 shlokas, 1111 shlokas in the Pasurams. All these shlokas, pasurams contain, details from the Upanishads and Vedas. It is said that when Ramanujacharya or Vedanta Desikan, they are all full-fledged in Vedas. But if they have any doubts, If they cannot, you know, understand any points, they will refer to is, pasurams or, verses. And after he has left, right, his Sishya or Madhurakavi Arwar used to take all his writings and spread, across, South India. And it so happened, one time when he went to, there is something called as in Mathura, in South India, Madhura Tamil Sangam, right? He wants to prove the superiority of his pasurams, to get recognition. So when he was doing that, a lot of, the Tamil poets, other poets, they resisted it, and then they said, your master has written only about spiritual, he did not write anything else. So the Mother Kever said, you don't decide about it. Let the Tulabaran decide. So in those days, they will keep, the verses, or whoever has written on one side, and other verses. Whichever wins, whichever goes down, that is considered the successful, poem or verses. So he said, hey poets, you keep all your verses, everything on one side, but I will keep one one pasuram or one verse of Namarwar in that Tulabharam and see what happens. So he chose only, Namarwar has written 8-line verses, 4-line verses, and 2-line verses. So Madhurikayarwar just took 2-line verses and kept it in the Tulabharam. On the other side, the other poets kept all their, bundles and bundles of, verses in Tamil. But the weight in the Tulabharam, where it was placed, Namarwar songs was placed, it went down, proving that, Namarwar's, Tiruvaimuri or Namarwar's, songs are very, you know, spiritually supreme and superior to other mundane literature. And all of the poets were, very, very, surprised, and they started, glorifying Namarwar.
Thank you. Yeah, so I put some details about Namava's work. So
Yes.
yeah, this is like Prabhuji said, right? It is four Vedas, the essence of four Vedas. So if you read it, and if any of us are able to understand the meaning of Upanishads or the four Vedas, so it is exact translation, we can say. I mean, the thing is, the Vedas existed even much, much before. Nobody knows exactly, right? How many millenniums before. And this one also, the Dravida Vedam or this Nalayira Divya Prabandha, the 4,000 stanzas, it's called Dravida Vedam only because it is written in the Dravida, means it's not like it's in the language that was spoken at the time in the southern part of India, peninsular India, which is called Dravidam, basically bounded by three sides, bounded on three sides by sea. So that is why it's called a Dravida. This area, it's more like a, geographical area. So the language at that time was predominantly Tamil language. As you know, it's one of the oldest language, or very old, right? So that it is the essence of these verses, which is the exact meaning of the Vedas, for Vedas. That's why it's called Dravida Vedam. It's called. And this Tiruvaimuri, that is a magnum opus, if you want to use the word, of Namarwar's 1,102 verses. It is the exact replica of the essence of Samaveda. As you know, Samaveda is with music, right? We all know that. And this is exact meaning of Samaveda. So similarly, Tiruviruttam, Tiruvasiriyam, and Periya Tiruvandadi, each one of is, other three Vedas.
Thank you, Saundarshi. Okay. So there is another story of, Madhurakavi Arwar and further, and how, Namarwar become the top or head of the Harvards, that we can cover next week. there is a lot of very, very interesting stories how the Nada Munigal, the primary Acharya of Sri Sampradaya, came in contact with Madhura Kavi Alvar's generation, and how we got all the 4,000 Pasurams, that we will see next week. There is some other very, very interesting stories there. But let us, that is a teaser for next week. We'll see some other very, very interesting story next week. Any questions? I know, I'm sorry, I've taken a little bit more time. Okay.
Yeah, all good. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Very
you
nice
very much.
discussion today.
Thank you so much for making it more interactive. I think I would like everyone to add some points next week. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. This is a great sacrifice that we spent like 1 hour 20 minutes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji.
Shri
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Shiva ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.